Hello and welcome to another Overlord lore video, and today we are going to ask a very interesting question that never really came to my attention. Is Imina the half-elven adventurer that is currently held prisoner in the Great Tomb of Nezwick, perhaps the half-sister of Zesshi Zetsumei, the strongest godkin of Slain, a fellow half-elf, and also a prisoner of Ain's Olgon? But before we're going to look into this exciting field of potential anime sibling relationships, let me quickly thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, as well as all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. Now with that said, let's take a look at the theory. Imina is a half-elf who lived in the Empire of Baharut, or rather at the edges of its society. For elves are not fellow citizens there, but were, prior to Ain's Olgon's vassalization of Jerkniv's realm, mere property to be bought and sold on markets, so the social standing of a half-elf was way lower than that of a normal citizen of Baharut. Hence why Imina is making her living as a worker, a black market adventurer willing to explore and kill almost everything if the price is right, regardless of any laws. And Imina was quite fierce and fairly strong, as well as a fair bit older than Zesshi is today, likely hinting that she is hundreds, perhaps 200 years old. But with all of this said, why is such a character even in the Empire of Baharut if half-elves have a hard lot in this society and not, let's say, in the great forest of Evasha? Well, the easiest and most likely explanation is that Imina is just the product of a horny rich man and an elf captured from a home that was sold to him. We know that Area Usrud, the guy that had way too pleasant of a death, bedded elves routinely, and that the novels mentioned that it was indeed unusual for Area to not bed an elf for several days. And again, he was accompanied by 3 elves. So scenes like this might have played out throughout the Empire on a daily basis. But we also know about one other figure that beds every single woman, single or otherwise, that he sees, the Elf King. And he did so in order to create strong offspring that would help him conquer the world. Considering that he was sired by the Elf Fencer King, one of the 8 great kings that defeated the Dragon Lords and then conquered the continent with overwhelming speed and precision, the Elf King likely spent his childhood days in this blossoming empire, only to see it then fall and burn. But he also knew how strong he was and how strong his father was. So he wanted to have lots of offspring who would hopefully all be as strong as him in order to then conquer the world, therefore re-establishing the 8 great kings' empire, but under his sole rule. He is basically the edgier 18+ version of Don Quixote do Flamingo. And we also know that he, again to say it how YouTube wants me to say it, bedded a human woman on one occasion, Zeshi's mother. So it therefore could be that, seeing how strong Zesshi became, that the Elf King would perhaps try his luck with other human women as well. Women who wouldn't be demigods like him or Zeshi's mother, only to be sorely disappointed at how weak and lacking the resulting children would be. Given Imina's likely older than Zesshi, this could also be the reason why the Elf King sought out a godkin, a human godkin that is, because Imina was a disappointment, hence why the Elf King needed Zeshi's mother, because she was the strongest godkin of the theocracy at that time. And all of this would make a lot of sense from the Elf King's perspective either way, and after Imina had been seen as nothing but a failure, she would also likely be abandoned by her father. Maybe she was severely wounded, and the Elf King left her for dead after confiscating her weapon. We know that the Elf King has an overpowered magical bow, and that Imina uses bows as her primary weapon, so it would also fit. So there's really a chance that both Zesshi and Imina are related, and this might even lead to Einzel Gon finding out why Zesshi is so strong and why Imina is not, thus unraveling the mystery of the godkins of Slain. But I also have my doubts, simply because the sheer number of captured elves in servitude in the Empire would make it much more likely that Imina is the offspring of one of the nobles or of the rich merchants of the Empire, rather than of the Elf King. Because the Elf King also couldn't remember even bedding a dark elven woman once, so he surely has his primary focus on the elves in order to sire offspring. And while the Elf King would most certainly have left his own daughter for dead after collecting his precious gear of her dying body, it is very unlikely that the severely wounded Imina could have survived the many dangers of the forests of Ivasha, traveled over a mountain chain via the theocracy or through the demi-human region known as the Ibalian Hills, only to then settle down in the Empire, where elves again are seen as nothing but things and objects. Especially because the city-state alliance of Karnazos, where all manners of sentient beings live together in a tense but thus far enduring peace, would be much more welcoming to a half-elf, like Imina was. And considering that there's a significant human population within the city-state alliance, Imina wouldn't also be the only half-human there. So while the theory is interesting, especially because both Imina and Zesshi are currently alive and inside the Great Tomb of Nezarec, it is very unlikely that Imina is Zeshi's half-sister. So in conclusion, both Zesshi Zetsumei and Imina are half-elves, and a theory states that the Elf King has fathered Imina, was disappointed with her, essentially abandoned her, and later made Zesshi. But while Imina is older than Zesshi and both are half-elves, this alone might not be enough for a potential connection. Imina would hardly have wandered all the way from the forest of Ivasha to the Empire, which is heavily prejudiced against half-elves, when the city-state alliance of Karnazos, who is much more tolerant, is nearby. And now it's your turn. What are your opinions about Zesshi and Imina, and the probability of them being related by blood? Let me know down in the comment section. And with that said, I say thank you very much for watching, and special thanks to Ader Daddy Ader, Bad Guy Yee, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feral Shivan, Guy with That Hat, Hector Moreno, Hoss, Haster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Loverazor, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, Oh Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantom, Personage, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Cune Caracos P, Cher Gox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rock Ad Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito 27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Xenukai, and Zonagon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.